I thought what I would do is share with you three books because apparently we have more time on our hands now that we're at home and we're not distracted by the usual kind of distractions that we find in the workplace. So if anyone is leading people, no matter what level you are, Chief Executive Officer, or you're leading your first team, I'm going to share with you three books that will transform how you look at your role as a leader. So this first book that I'm going to suggest you grab, if you get the chance, is The Master and His Emissary by Iain McGilchrist. So the significant majority of people in the world understand there's a left brain and a right brain, and generally there's this this belief that the left brain is sort of logical, sequential, right brain is creative. It turns out that's not true. The left brain broadly is focused on detail, and the right brain is big picture. And what Iain does really, really well in this book is explain those two mechanisms and why they're so important. So they're both working at the same time. And as a consequence of that, that's how we see and shape our world. Now, what Iain argues very astutely is that in the business world, this left brain, this focus on detail, has become the predominant modality of business, and we forgot about the big picture, the right brain. So if you look at things like agile and lean and that kind of thing, really, really profoundly important principles for today. People start getting focused on the minutiae of the processes and the tools, and they forget often the big picture of the environment within which they sit. It's a really, really profoundly important book. So The Master and His Emissary by Iain McGilchrist. And then second, probably one of the most impactful books of the last 2 years for me is Social by Matthew Lieberman. If you are running any kind of team, whether you're in a not-for-profit, a church group, a large organization, this is profoundly important science. It's actually quite new science, and it's called social cognitive neuroscience, and it's about the social brain, how we are wired at the deepest level. And really, in essence, what Matthew argues in his book is that we are wired to connect. It is a profoundly important survival need. And when those connections are well and healthy, then you start seeing all kinds of issues as a consequence of that. You know, the kind of things that you see in some organizations: dysfunction, lack of sharing, power grabs, all of that kind of nonsense. So social will help you understand that pretty much every leader has underestimated the importance of social connection. It is critical to high performance. And for me personally, who's been doing this stuff now for 12 years, this is one of the most important books I've read in the last 2 years. So I highly recommend you read it if you get the chance. And then finally, this is a recent read. It's a great book. What it does is it draws from a number of sciences that I've studied over the last few years, called The Culture Code. And really what Daniel is looking at here is what makes successful organizations, not just teams. And I think that's a really, really important argument. So there are key differences between an organization that is focused on getting things done well over and over again. So like a restaurant, a chain of restaurants, that's a process of people coming in and having food. That process, it needs to be done well over and over again. So that culture needs to be shaped in a certain way. That's very different to a culture where you're developing creativity. Now, in most organizations now that are moving to a sort of a digital model, whether you're a bank or whether you're an online gaming company, you are in the business of creativity and innovation. And so there's a different cultural model for that. And what Daniel, I think, does really well is draw on really practical examples of how to do that well. But he also adds some really solid science behind that too. So there you go, three great books. Choose one, because if you buy all three, it's unlikely you'll read them all. There you go, bit of habit science there. So just buy one initially, the one that resonates the most. And if this kind of stuff fascinates you, come and join me tomorrow. I'm doing a free training workshop on the neuroscience of teams, and it's part of a free 5-week, I called it lockdown learning program, just for comedy value, about how you create sort of high performing teams, particularly now that everybody's sort of in a kind of virtual environment. So come and hang out. We're all together tomorrow at 12:30. The link's above this video. If not, just grab one of these books. It will literally change how you lead. Okay, so I hope you enjoy them, and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.